Nearly 2 years ago, Kettleland News investigated the suspicious death of a 15-year-old boy on the Rosebud Reservation in south-central South Dakota. Alize Millard was found hanging from a tree in a remote part of the reservation, often used as a party spot by teens. Law enforcement said the circumstances surrounding his death just didn't add up, yet nothing has happened in the case. Tonight, for the first time, his family is speaking out. They say Millard was murdered, and they know who did it. In tonight's Kettleland News investigation, Angela Kennecke follows up on Millard's story and uncovers shocking new evidence in the case.
Nearly 2 years after 15-year-old Alize Millard was found hanging from this tree near Grass Mountain, his mother and grandmother struggle to cope with their loss.
He got to graduate 8th grade. He was going to be a freshman. His smile. He was always smiling. He never had a bad day. He was good to people. He was a special kid.
Part of their pain involves too many unanswered questions.
I just want justice for my son. Why isn't anything being done about it?
In the summer of 2019, Rosebud Sioux tribal law enforcement officers took us to the spot where Alize was found by hikers and pointed out.
That's another indicator that people come back here and hang out.
And it's also an indicator that he may not have been alone.
Also an indicator, yes. It's a big time indicator. It's a clue, basically.
Alize's family does not believe that he hanged himself. His grandfather, Peter Gibbs, was asked to identify his body.
I've never described this before. This is the first time I talked about it. They just unzipped the bag to here. They wouldn't let me see anymore. I noticed something was around his neck, which he don't generally wear. There was a little cord, and I knew it wasn't his.
The family has not been able to get Alize's autopsy report because his death is still an open case with the FBI. But according to his death certificate, Alize's cause of death was asphyxiation, hanging, and 3rd and 4th degree burns. How the injury occurred? Hanging and then set on fire.
If it was suicide, could someone hang themselves and then set themselves on fire?
Is that a serious question?
Yeah.
Yeah. How? Nobody's going to be able to hang themselves to death and start themselves on fire. Could have he been smoking a cigarette and a cigarette caught him on fire? That's a probability. That's a possibility. But we don't know.
You think you know who killed Alize?
Yeah.
Alize's family believes that he was actually killed at a party in Parmalee.
We know of at least 7 people that were there, that were right there when it happened.
The family believes that Alize was then dumped down the road from his grandparents' house in the spot known as either Ghost Hawk Canyon or Boy Scout Cabin Falls. But it also goes by yet another name.
The teenage kids in the middle, they know it as the dumping ground. That's what they call it.
Gibbs points to texts and posts on social media regarding Alize's death. One reads, F. Alize Millard, burn up, expletive. Another says how they effed up and didn't cut his body parts off so they couldn't identify him.
It was coming out on the internet from the people that actually did it. They were boasting about it. They were boasting about what they did.
Gibbs says he's turned over the messages to investigators.
Something is not right here. We've given them the information, we even gave them the names of the people.
And once the police go and talk to this potential witness, their story is never the same as what the family tells us. So those are some of the hurdles that we have.
When it comes to getting answers to the family's very specific questions about the death of Alize, the Rosebud Sioux Tribal Police says it's the FBI's case, and the FBI isn't talking.
The FBI has conducted hundreds of interviews. They have done their work on this case.
Do you believe that Alize took his own life?
I don't know. And that is why this case will remain open. We didn't close it as a suicide.
Back in the summer of 2019, we asked law enforcement this.
Will you get to the bottom of it?
Oh yeah, we always do get to the bottom of it.
But they're not saying that today.
A lot of times, a lot of cases are unsolved. That's just the nature of the business. Is we don't get a final answer sometimes.
That's not something Alize's family is willing to accept.
The information is there. So what's holding up this investigation? And that's the bit that really is frustrating with a capital F.
They're running free out there thinking they got away with it, you know?
The FBI will only tell us that the Alize MILLARD case is still open, while the family believes they know who is responsible. KENNECKE News is not naming them because no one has been charged with a crime. If you have any information on the teenager's death, you're asked to call law enforcement.